That's fine. Oh, that's fine. All right. So this is the newest episode of Whatever Happened to the Game. We'll have links to my invite link for those who are guests who are brave enough to come here and get part in the chat. It'll be here. Just 1 minute. It's going to be right here. So there we go. But this is the live stream for Whatever Happened to the Game. It's going to be talking about the final frontier for the golden age of role-playing games. So this is some demo footage of, as it were, Escape Velocity Classic. It's one of the games we're going to be talking about today. Now the music is not here. The actual music in the game is copyright protected. So I'm using my own background music for this. So this is a space trading simulation and role-playing game. And it's rather so as you're going into this, it's role-playing games. Also Star Control 2, and I have links in the description here to the actual, as it were, the actual games where you can buy them on GOG.com, or where you can go and get them on open source, because some of these games are actually what you call dead. They're defunct. So you need to find open source versions of the game because they aren't for sale. They're dead. The company that made them is gone. And so the open source has distinctions from the original to not be a copyright violation or infringement, but that's where they are. So as we're getting ready, it's about 5 minutes till. But this is the game of Escape Velocity, and it's one of those games where it's not all that fun to play on your own, but it is a role-playing game, and it's part of the role-playing game culture from way back when, where you as a character, you can customize your character, customize the name, make decisions, and you lived in a world that is affected as consequences to your decisions, your character's reputation, and so on. I'll be going over the other games from that time period, such as Fallout, Baldur's Gate, and so on, which will be pretty fun. I'll be going over RPGs, and then I'm going back to the Castlevania topics for October, leading up to Halloween, and I'm hopefully going to be giving you a little short review. It's not going to be an hour-long video. It'll be more in length to my other relatively longer videos, or rather essays in some cases, where I talked about things such as Tomato in the Mirror, Castlevania, and explaining how mistaken or ignorance of their own identity plays a role in the Castlevania game series. So I'm going to be talking about that, and otherwise it's going to be pretty fun, and it'll be interesting. There's a huge anniversary coming up for Curse of Darkness, which turns 20 years old on November 1st, 2025. It was released originally on that date, which is November 1st, Day of the Dead, or Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, or if you're Catholic, the holiday is All Saints' Day on November 1st as well. I won't be here to watch over the premiere. It's my mother's birthday that day, so her birthday happens to be on the Day of the Saints. Who would know? Who would have thought? But so I'll be over with her, celebrating her birthday while this is premiering on the anniversary. But otherwise, it's going to be a pretty interesting week before I officially start this live stream. So this is a little bit as we're getting ready for the live stream. This is from Atari. Star Control 2, the Ur-Quan Masters. Now you can get Star Control 2 and Star Control 1 and Star Control 3, which are for PC and 3DO consoles. You can get them all over on GOG.com, or I also have a link to the open source. The open source version of the game is great because, well, you can mod it and play other things with other skins or games using the Star Control engine. Star Control is great, although it and Escape Velocity have their contrasting gameplay mechanics regarding the games. So, overall, I'm going to do a few more checks on audio. And yes. So, it's going to be starting. And I'm going to be counting down soon. So soon. So, getting ready, going to the countdown. All right, so space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Star. Wait, okay, no. Starship Enterprise was, but that was the opening from Star Trek. And Star Trek, as a franchise, had a huge inspiration for the space RPGs, such as Escape Velocity or Star Control, that came later. Huge inspiration in the idea that you would explore, seek out new civilizations, discover new life, and boldly go where no human has ever gone before. Exploration emphasis. So that's what these games do. They're a little different, but today we're going to talk about the golden age of role-playing games. Now, the golden age of actual role-playing games is during the 90s and the early 2000s. What sets this aside as a gameplay, while your enjoyment of games is subjective, that's the fact, but what objectively happened during this golden age of role-playing games is that role-playing games became heavily about, you can customize your character, you can customize their name, you can customize how they appear, you can customize everything there, almost everything about them, age and so on. And not only could you customize your character, but the game and the plot of the game would proceed based on consequences for your actions and decisions that you have made as the player in the game. Another big influence, as we'll find out later, was also the Dungeons and Dragons in terms of dice rolling mechanics for random number generation, and also, of course, in this case, Star Trek and to an extent Star Wars were an inspiration heavily on how you created these role-playing games set in outer space. Welcome, Albeleo. I was getting started with this episode today. You're right on time. Your mic might need to turn the mic a little up a little higher, or yeah. So yeah. First the news for today is that Netflix and Paramount are offering to buy Warner Brothers, not Discovery Channel, but Warner Brothers Entertainment.
How's that? Better?
Oh, much better.
Okay, good.
But yeah, Netflix and Paramount have made offers or bids to buy out Warner Brothers Entertainment, except for Discovery Channel. That stays separate.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Warner Brothers hasn't exactly had the greatest time. They had a lot of debt back in 2017, which is when AT&T, the communication giant, bought them out. And now it's being offered by Paramount. Of course, you get all Paramount, CBS, and Star Trek, and Nickelodeon. That Paramount is offering to buy them, and also Netflix has put in their bids. We'll see if these bids go through and who wins the bidding war. But I think there's pros and cons to either one buying out Warner Brothers Entertainment. For Netflix, that would mean that they now have certain IPs aside from their original content. It would mean Netflix can now essentially absorb HBO Max and it's one streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
And it puts Netflix closer to what they used to be, where essentially people paid them to stream. Amazon will obviously still be separate with MGM, and Disney will still have Disney Plus, but it will just make Netflix, if Netflix wins, that puts them a bit closer. And Paramount, they've had some really rough results recently, but they've had some okay results, and it would just mean they have DC Comics characters on top of the fact that Paramount owns Nickelodeon. Paramount owns CBS, so there would be issues there because part of the Warner Brothers deal is that Warner Brothers owns CNN, and there's also CBS News. So, is that owning a little too much in the way of news media? I don't know.
Well, so long as they don't own all of it, technically, it's not a big problem, I think. However, I don't like that it's the same people that own CNN and MSN and CBS.
Yeah. I just don't know.
There's already enough propaganda and all kinds of shit. And
remember Disney bought out 20th Century Fox, but Fox News Channel stayed separate as part of that deal. So I don't know. Would Paramount do the same thing where they just say, "Oh, we just don't get CNN"? I don't know.
I don't know, because the way everything's going right now, the big factor I think is actually USAID being removed, and because of this, it's hard to tell who's going to go where, because MSNBC had to like rebrand themselves. It was like
Right.
MSN now or something,
Right.
because their biggest financial donor, USAID, has been removed from the table. So,
and on the other hand, yeah, if Netflix does it, then they probably just give a little life support to CNN, and Netflix doesn't own news yet. Doesn't own news yet, but it would change it so now they do. If Netflix gets CNN and they win the bidding wars.
mhm.
So, I mean, it would be less, but it would still be Netflix owning quite a lot if they get the Warner Brothers catalog, even without the Discovery Channel. So it DC Comics characters, fine. Looney Tunes, Harry Potter, and television rights for CNN. That's the main package that Netflix and Paramount so far are competing to outbid the other on.
Okay. Well,
and the other thing is they might just do reboots for some of the IPs at Warner Brothers if someone acquires them, whether it's no matter what, if it's CNN, if it's not CNN, but if it's Paramount or Netflix, either way, it might be a reboot one way or another.
Well, either which way, I still don't necessarily trust it, because they haven't really done much in the way of changing how they're pushing things in the Batman 2 or the Harry Potter series. So, yeah,
they covered the main Harry Potter books, right? They went through all 7 of those, and apparently they then just worked on prequels. That's what Fantastic Beasts is a prequel, right? I only really read the main
far as
ones
I know,
Harry.
the Harry Potter series is supposed to be the entire book series, the mainline 7.
Okay.
But they're going through and making a ton of changes that a lot of people are very unhappy with,
I don't know.
Because they did the race swap thing with Snape, and that came crashing down on them. I think a number of the people are supposedly like rabidly anti-Trump, which probably is going to change how the entire series is going to be written. And then I think they said it was Dumbledore was cast, but they didn't want to reveal who it was.
Oh, but then they said it was John Lithgow. I mean, that's fine. He's old too, like Dumbledore, but
yeah. So we'll see. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see how it goes.
I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of not interested in a remake at the point when it's been what? I mean, Lord of the Rings movies were 20 years ago. They were one of the things that were early case of film being released to DVD. And I have the whole Lord of the Rings extended editions, basically what Peter Jackson wanted in those movies. So I'm sitting there with the DVD collection. It's like, why would I want to watch Lord of the Rings based on the 3 main novels when I have a video adaptation right at home? I can pop into the player when I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it was 20 years ago, it's decent for the quality you get for what you're watching. So I don't know. I just don't know. I think that something new needs to come at some point.
Yeah, they're just gonna try to double down on a franchise they know is extraordinarily popular with millennials at this point, because they have nothing else to reference. Every time they try and do any sort of major series, and I say they broadly, I mean Hollywood in general, we are still in an age where people are not making new content. They're just regurgitating the same content with their political spins. Rings of Power, but Alien Earth. Over at Technically Mexican Stream, they're constantly complaining about Wheel of Time, which apparently got butchered too. Like, it's nonstop, and they're only doing this because this is like the propaganda is the goal, but they're also trying to make money at the same time. It clashes with like the ideas clash, which is crazy because if they just took a chance on something small, and we've seen that movies and shows with smaller budgets but well executed can become extremely popular, but they're not good. I don't know why that isn't the business practice.
I mean, there was a perfect storm, you know, in the 1980s because there were a lot of things that had just bombed. There were a lot of movies that bombed in the 80s, but then there were those cases of lightning in a bottle, such as Back to the Future or another 80s one. I mean, Back to the Future. I mean, Star Wars, I guess you'd say it's just about the 80s. It's 77 for the first one, but it was taking a chance at something new. And even George Lucas thought it was going to bomb, and Fox as well thought it was going to bomb until it didn't.
Alien took a hell of a chance too.
Oh, yes, it did. But at this point, these things they're not new anymore. They're not as novel as they used to be, and they've reached this point where they're becoming redundant in terms of what they're trying to tell in the story. And if you know what I mean by redundant, like,
yeah, sure. I don't know, like I think we're going to be, because I called it forever ago. At this point, when Trump got elected and everything, I do not believe that we're going to get out of this mire for a long time until the people in Hollywood and running these companies actually shift not only their own perspectives, but maybe change, maybe just get swapped out in general with individuals who actually want to take those risks, who are willing to, okay, here's a small budget, something that if it fails, we can recoup the money at a later time, build up a couple successes, and then try to put something a little higher. Not even like crazy high. I'm talking like 30 to 50, maybe 60 million at most for a movie.
certainly.
And give it a valid chance, you know? I mean, Alien Romulus, as terrible as it was, had something like 60 or 80 million, something like that, for a budget, like production budget. So
that's good for a budget or something, given what it was. I mean, generally speaking, R-rated content, you anticipate a smaller audience because it's rated R in the first place.
sure, but it's the first Alien movie in however many years since Covenant, and nobody likes Covenant.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
so
Covenant had a lot of just disappointing things where you thought something was going to go somewhere in there, but they just concluded it before you even started. Like, okay, what happened to Shaw? Well, you just see her dead, like alien. I don't know what happened. What the hell happened to her? She got, I guess you'd call it assimilated. Or
yeah,
assimilated
whatever you
dead
want.
body. Yeah. And then they killed all the so-called engineers before the movie even started. So it's like, really? Talk about premature conclusions there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, regardless,
I mean, sometimes you want to entertain. You play it like a child's birthday present. You build up suspense, and when they finally see it, wow, that's great. That's great. You got it for me. But it's as if people forgot how suspense and building up anticipation works.
regardless, the main question, I don't think it's really going to change much. If Warner Bros. Is bought out, we know that Netflix is particularly woke minded. So unfortunately, they wouldn't change. They would stay on their present course. Paramount, I haven't seen really anything from them, so I couldn't like fairly state. But beyond that, nothing's really going to change. Like it's
Paramount,
it's all about trying to keep everything.
Paramount still has Paramount still has the rights to Transformers movies. They still have Nickelodeon, so anything based off a Nickelodeon TV show, if they wanted to make like a live action Hey Arnold, which is dumb, but they could do it, they could do that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that's Paramount right now. So, and of course Sonic movies, Sonic the Hedgehog movies. So that's what Paramount has.
Yeah. And
I mean, it would mean that multiple, say Nintendo, multiple video game properties. Warner Brothers does have the rights for live action Pokemon movies like Detective Pikachu. So I guess now Sonic and Pokemon are the same publishers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't see really much of anything changing. Everything's still going to continue to go downhill. The Harry Potter series is probably going to suck. Batman 2 is already in a little bit of hot water because the guy who is Commissioner Gordon is complaining that people complained. He's complaining now about people complaining now about him being black, when he was almost universally one of the few things that people defended.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting because, the Batman I watched, I felt it was okay. It was just basically starting when he's already been Batman for a while, which is fine. I just don't feel like it always has to be an origin story. I mean, even the animated Batman television series with Kevin Conroy voicing him had flashbacks about his origin, but he was already established when it started. So, I don't know. Yeah, this is probably the biggest, hottest thing I saw, and I was just like, yeah, I just don't feel consolidation's a good thing. There has to be something new eventually, and it will happen. It's just a question of how long is it going to take before they try to take a risk again. I prefer sooner rather than later, but even I can't tell you. So, but without getting lost, I'm going to talk about what the golden age of role-playing games is. So it starts around early 90s through the 2000s, so it's about a decade long. But the main idea is that it was the role-playing games they made for PC, with obvious heavy inspiration from Dungeons and Dragons, by the way, was that you could make a very customizable character to start off with. You could customize what your character's backstory is. Fine. You can customize what your character's species is. In the case of Baldur's Gate, your character's portrait, your name, your age. And not only could you customize the character, but you had decisions and consequences as a character that played out for your character in terms of their reputation and the world at large. So that's what made it there, because you're playing as a character. You're playing through that character's decisions in the game, and it plays out, whether it's for your character or the world or the larger world that your character is involved in as a part of. So I have here the power armor suit from the original Fallout and Baldur's Gate, because we'll eventually get to both of those later. But I decided to start with outer space because I feel a lot of people don't know that these outer space-based games go heavily into the role-playing genre, because you make decisions in them and it affects the world around you. So first one is Escape Velocity. Now, up until Nova, the third game, it was obscure because it was exclusive to Apple Macintosh computers. So you can play all of them on Windows today. They have an open source version with distinctions made because the shareware company known as Ambrosia went out of business. It was completely dissolved. So what do you do? But it's
that's where the that recent movement that just garnered a lot of attention from Pirate Software's
video games.
Terrible take comes into play.
Right. But there is a community that works on making the open source versions of these with distinctions so that it doesn't count as a one-to-one copy of the original game. And you can get it from there. I have the link in the description for where you can go to Escape Velocity Nova community. But you can play this as a total conversion mod. But the main idea is you go inside your starship, and I've got footage I recorded from it because I used the community edition here. I'm going to start it out here. So here's it starts. Oh, that's the other one. I'm going to do the opening start here.
It looks like asteroids.
It is. That's part of the inspiration to it. The other one was Star Trek, actually, because you start off with a Federation shuttle. Well, it's based off the design of a Federation shuttle, anyways.
Okay.
And you can do missions. So I can just say, okay, I'll take a mission. So I start on the planet Levo. And most of the planets here are either based off names from Star Wars, Star Trek, mythology, or even real-life stars. This is the intro as a scrolling text. The new age of peace and prosperity was a failure. The discoveries that made faster than light travel possible brought us untold riches and unknown dangers. The alien warships appeared without warning and decimated most of the outer colony worlds within hours. There was no stopping the mysterious alien menace. The Great War was upon us. But we beat them. The human race bonded together into a powerful confederation of worlds whose combined military strength was enough to turn the tide of war. Within 8 years, enigmatic intruders were extinct. But the elite and powerful members of the Confederation were reluctant to give up power. They exploited the outer colony planets for the benefit of the wealthy core worlds, stripping them of their resources and coercing the colonists into forced labor. The reign of terror lasted 15 years. Then the insurrection began. The outer colonies, weary of the Confederation's practices of plundering. So, essentially, you're living in a time after an alien world, and you have the two major factions you can side with by your decisions: the Confederation and the Rebellion.
Okay.
The Confederation is where Earth is the capital. The Rebellion is more outer worlds, like out in the nebula, the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically this oldest time part where people who aren't, the wealthiest class in society, who aren't in the capital area, feel that you don't recognize us. We're not being represented. We want something that will recognize us better. Pretty much the formula for every major revolution in history.
Yeah.
But here I am. I landed on Levo, so I chose a mission. So I don't want to do a basic cargo mission and say, okay, I'll go to these planets. So I'll go into the map screen, and that's the mini map right over there. So I go to map and I select. Now in this older game, it's a simple hyperspace jumps from system to system.
Sure.
So it'll be a little different from Star Control 2, which we'll be talking about later. But this is me starting out with a shuttlecraft.
Okay.
So, but I'm trying to find the system. So, I mean, part of it this feels ridiculous if you're in a interstellar societies, you'd think that they'd have a star map. Like just the way that you used to have a road atlas or a GPS, but this older game in 1996, this is when it was released in 1996, it was not quite that way.
Hey, Brian.
But so we go and you have to explore it a little bit. But here I have to just do a little guessing game, figuring, okay, what little hyperspace route connects to the system I'm looking for. And of course, you have to get far away from planets or else you can't use hyperspace. So I'm getting far away from the planet and the gravity, and then I'm doing hyperspace right now to get to my destination. Now, the other thing you can do in this game is you can also disable someone's ship and steal the fuel. You can steal the fuel out of their ship. You can steal the money out of their ship and whatever they were carrying, like metal, medical supplies, and so on. So here it is. So I'm choosing a new mission right now. I'm going to show commodity trading because that's the second part of it here.
To New Japan. That's funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of new places. There's New Britain, New Ireland, New Scotland.
They're not sober enough to have a New Ireland.
Oh, believe me, there's a New Ireland, lad. You just have to go looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go to commodity trading because that's what I do when I get more cargo space. Because similar to real life, like trying to profit off stocks. So similar to real life, you want to have a quantity of something sold to get a significant profit, because my profit per 10 tons of commodity is only so much. So here I've got an upgraded ship. It's an Argosy, which originally had 100 tons of cargo space, but as it is right now, I sacrificed cargo space for armor and shields and weapons because there's no way I was going to be unprotected from pirates out there. So right now, this is later in the game where I have 1.2 million credits, but I'm going to do a commodity exchange. So I'm going to find a place where food has a low cost, and since Earth, as I found here, is high cost in food, which go figure, it's an old overpopulated capital of the Confederation. Of course, it's going to have a high price. So I'm going to go look. So I'm load the cargo, commodity exchange, food. Oh no, this is New Providence, not Earth. But I see that there's food for low cost. So I'm going to buy the food. And I'll sell it on Earth because the price on Earth for the same amount of food is high. So I'm going to Sol, which is the sun. And now I'm going to go and buy after I escape these pirates. Oh,
I gotcha.
Yeah, but I had an escape pod, so I'm not dead. But I'm going to use the save game system to actually do the commodity exchange. So, but if I do hardcore mode, you cannot open a save game. You're dead. You have to start a new pilot file. So here I am. I'm leaving New Providence, and I'm going to take all that food and sell it on Earth for a higher cost. So I profit off of it. Commodity exchange. And that's the real key in this game to getting a lot of money fast. You get a big freight ship. You trade commodities from a low-cost world or station to a high-cost world or station for that particular commodity. So I'm going to accept this mission. But that's the main trick. You just want a high cost. But eventually you can go in the bar or the outfit shop where you can buy upgrades for your ship. And if you have a good enough reputation, a faction will offer you to do missions for them. At which case you have joined a faction, and depending on which faction you join, the other faction is hostile to you. You join the Confederacy, the rebels are your enemy. You join the rebels, the Confederacy is your enemy, and so on. If you accidentally shoot a civilian ship or a ship that is from the ruling faction, that faction becomes hostile to you and you are a criminal in that system. So if I were to just shoot the freighter, I would now be a criminal and the Confederation would be hostile to me. And the condition of the various worlds is affected by you doing missions. So if I do the equipment runs to the moon will have a fully established station with the various services available. At the beginning, it doesn't have that. So I changed the whole situation on the moon, where now I can buy space. I can buy spaceships. So yeah, Braymore, the future Confederation is basically humans in the capital world, such as Alpha Centauri and Earth. Because they're the capital, they're the birthplace of humanity, and they have such a huge population of people that they can demand what they want from everyone else. Or so they think, because now there's a rebellion. So there's a civil war in the galaxy. So, yes, that's New Ireland, is where I'm going now.
Okay.
So here I'm doing the target system.
Like this is like a super early alpha for
Endless Sky.
No. I was thinking Eve Online.
Eve Online, yeah. Eve Online's similar. So is Galaxy on Fire, Endless Sky, and you can get those later games that mostly use the same mechanics as this one on Steam. So Eve Online, Steam. You can also get, like I said, Endless Sky on Steam, and Endless Sky is also 2D like this game is. So yeah, that pirate attacked me, so I disabled his ship, took all his money, and blew his ship up. And since he's a pirate, they justified me, and I don't get a criminal record for destroying a pirate in the ship.
Gotcha.
But yeah, going back to this, Escape Velocity is one of these golden age role-playing games because it involves making decisions. It involves your decisions impacting the status of the world around you and your reputation. Like I said, you can have a criminal status if you do the wrong thing and attack the wrong people. 2D, top-down 2D gameplay. Yeah, basically. I mean, there's New Japan, New Britain, New Ireland, New Scotland.
If they made a New Japan after the last one got nuked too many times.
Yeah. Well, it's actually a planet. It's well, not a planet. It's a moon of a bigger gas giant. But yeah, it's New Japan is where they have luxury goods for cheap. So buy them cheap luxury goods on New Japan, and then go to Earth and sell it for extra high cost. Can only travel there, and the only thing I forgot to mention is the combat rating. So your combat reputation depends on you destroying other ships. Obviously, if you destroy bigger starships, it gets you more reputation points. And when you're known as being really effective in space combat, that's when these factions want to recruit you, because this guy can fight, this guy can deliver around the enemy. So let's ask him. Let's go to the space bar and ask him if he wants to serve our cause. So there is EV Nova Community Edition. I have the link in the description of this video, and you can go get that and play Escape Velocity, Override, and Nova for free because it's open source now. The game's defunct. The people who made it are gone. I guess you said that EVE Online is similar.
I'm sorry?
You said EVE Online sounds pretty similar to this, like doing delivery jobs and space
basically. Every zone you go to is just a super wide open space area. You're picking up missions. You're hunting pirates, doing space battles, transferring things. It's a huge economic game. Like they have like top economists who like run and balance the economy in the background. It reminded me a lot of Eve.
So is Eve Online like 3D when you're piloting?
Correct. It was big about 15, 20 years ago. About 15. It's had some insane space battles that it's infamous for. For example, to build an actual space station that people could use in what is called nullsec, so there's no security at all, no AI to protect you. It can take upwards of 6 months to build. And there was, and it's happened multiple times since, but there was a space battle. There was a battle out in this area at the 11th hour, right when this station was about to be finished, and it got attacked by an enemy organization. The battle lasted something like IRL. I'm not kidding. IRL like oh man, I thought it was like 48 or 36 hours or something like that. People just had their machines going and going and going. You're talking tens of thousands of players were just orbiting each other with ships, drones, everything, and they lost the station.
It might not be as long as they kept Halo 3 servers running. So with Halo 3, there was a coordinated effort to just keep playing multiplayer games.
Mm-hmm.
So they wouldn't have the inactivity to shut the multiplayer server for Halo 3. Take it offline.
Right.
Yeah. It's great. GOG.com, in the case of Star Control 1 and 2, they've been doing a great job. I've been playing Heroes of Might and Magic. I actually finally got to finish it because the disc for Heroes of Might and Magic 3 Complete that we had at home, it's broken. So I got a digital version of Heroes of Might and Magic 3 on GOG. So I finally got to complete the campaigns I didn't complete when I was a young kid, working in the summer between years of high school on Heroes of Might and Magic 3. So thanks to GOG, I was able to finish it. Thanks, GOG. But so Star Control, and it's funny you mentioned Economist, because the guys making Star Control 2 had to go and look up what various planets could be like based on what the top astronomers in the world said they could be like. Because this is back in 1992, 1990 for the first Star Control, and 1992 for the second one, and there weren't that many exoplanets they knew of beyond the solar system, combined with the fact that Pluto was still considered a planet back then.
Mm-hmm.
But the guys at Star Control 2, for making Star Control 2, when we didn't know as very much about planets beyond our sun or solar system, they had to speculate on what they'd be like. So they have these ideas of making Star Control 2 of, say, diamond planets, carbon worlds, halogen worlds, salt worlds, and so on. And I'll actually go into showing you part of this when we're showing what Star Control 2 is like. And we had this in an earlier episode, which is funny. And I realized, yeah, this is a good example of where they made gains in terms of making a role-playing game. It's kind of similar to the original DOS game of Dune. Before they had Dune 2, where it went full RTS, they had Dune, where you have this primitive DOS layout, and you are controlling different parts on the planet Arrakis, and you do battles for it. But Star Control 2 did that. And the way that Star Control works is it is a dynamic galaxy, that world you have laid out. And the original DOS version had, with the CD, it came with a huge map that you unfolded out of the box, and you could put on your wall and say, okay, this is where all the little star systems are located on this huge map that you could unfold and take a look at. The first one was on DOS, and 2 years later, the 3DO short-lived game console had Star Control on it as well, but 3DO is dead in terms of consoles.
Mm-hmm.
So then we came up with Star Control 2, and Toys for Bob was the developer, and it was published by Accolade. So you play as Captain Zelnick, but you can have the name be whatever you want. Same with the starship. So without much further ado, we'll start taking a look at, okay, what did Star Control 2 look like?
Mm-hmm.
There. Opening screen. So Super Melee, which is what Kaos is talking about, I got the open source version. So my brother and I were playing on our home PC, the 2-player multiplayer, where you both choose ships and you fly around it, shooting at each other. but we played that a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Set free into the open space community. That's a funny one. Open space community 2002.
Something so charming about these old school games.
Well, a lot of it is they have a very limited range of music because of the data constraints, storage constraints. So they use this basic electronic music in DOS games back then. But it works. It works pretty well for what they were constrained in fitting this on a 300 megabytes on a CD-ROM. One of my favorite opening songs in these old PC games.
It's a factory. It's just a hut.
Yeah, that's got to be a huge factory under there. And that's your ship, your main ship, your flagship or mothership, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun seeing the little circular drone, like retro-futuristic future drones flying around to construct the ship. So the interesting part about this game is it runs on a timer, similar to how you remember the original Fallout, right?
Yeah.
So this one has a similar countdown timer, and over the course of time, as it elapses in the game, the different alien races could become extinct. They can the areas of the galaxy under the control can expand or shrink, and so on. So this whole game has a difficulty to it because it depends on you advancing within a certain amount of time. So right here, I'm starting when you go to Sol, or our solar system, and you try and figure out, okay, what's going on? I was stranded on the other planet for a long time, and now I'm back. What happened? So I'm going to Earth, and let's see what's on Earth. So,
attention, interloper.
So yeah, it's a little frog thing talking to you as a translator.
Vessel speaks with the voice and authority of Ur-Quan. You are trespassing within Ur-Quan space. This world, Earth, may not be approached for any reason, nor will hostilities against our orbital platform be tolerated. In addition, your ship does not respond to standard hierarchy identification transmissions, and is therefore deemed to be independent. This is not permissible. Only subservience shall be tolerated.
Yeah, Chaos, it was like cheesy, and a lot of this game is not a little lighthearted, but I still like it.
And await the arrival of the Ur-Quan. Disobedience will be punished.
Yeah, sure thing, Kraid. Or Krang, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Krang from TMNT, right?
Yeah.
Although I remember, didn't Krang have the like high-pitched voice, or was that just the animated television series?
Attention, unidentified space vessel. I am Starbase Commander Hayes of the slave planet Earth. Our hyperwave broadcast extremely weak. Situation critical. Energy cores exhausted. Scanners and deep radar are not...
So here, when you go back to your home base, that's where you can buy new upgrades and have your ship refueled. So it's interesting. That's how it works in this game. I mean, you can do plenty of the starship updates and upgrades and reconfigure how your ship is laid out, like add more crew, add more weapons, add more fuel. But for the most part, you just have to get started by getting the Earth station resupplied because they're running out of power.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the other part of this game is interesting is it actually goes, unlike Escape Velocity, it goes to the simulation of having mini games where you go down to the planets and explore them for minerals or creature DNA. Because you can, later on in the game, you have the Melnorm, which are a type of alien race that collect creature DNA because you shot and killed whatever aliens on other planets, and then you give the Melnorm their DNA so they can sell you new technologies.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see if I can get to the hyperspace part. So this is where you name your
Okay, that sounds
faction,
pretty
your new
inspiring.
country.
So be it. The new alliance of free stars. Now, Captain, I expect the configuration process for the starbase to take at least 2 weeks, so let's get to work.
And it's also crazy that, back then they had to ask their family members to do the voices or their coworkers to do the voices for low budget.
Report, Captain. We have successfully integrated the precursor technology from your ship into our fabricator system, and as you can see, we've already begun minor repairs on your ship, patching up some of the micrometeorite holes. We noticed that your ship does not have an emergency warp escape unit, so our engineers rigged up some for you and each of your escorts. Now, you should be able to escape from a bad situation with the touch of a button. But there is a cost, however. The unit gulps up 5 fuel units each time your precursor ship uses it. Also, we now have a limited capacity to make modifications to your ship, to refine starship fuel, to build additional combat ships, and to train new members of your crew for the flagship and any ships you acquire for your fleet. Captain, I know you're eager to get to work, so I'll be brief. If you have any questions how this starbase works...
All right, so you find your first alien contact on Pluto. Here, I'll show so you go to Pluto. You can tell the age of this because they still considered Pluto a planet when they made this. But you get your scan. So energy tells you if there's cities or technology on a planet, and life tells you if there's something alive there.
I like how Pluto has continents.
Yeah. There it is. So this is the lander, and you control your lander to collect minerals or mine minerals and collect DNA by shooting creatures. Now, things like if the planet's hot or if there's earthquakes, they damage the lander, but you can develop resistance by getting new technologies for your lander so they can survive heat and other factors on a planet longer. So, first alien contact in the game, aside from the fact that...
Yeah, aside from the wobbly eye.
Yeah.
This is Spotty, Captain Sowito. I know you are going to torture me, so let's just get this over with right now.
Such a gloomy, morose alien.
Spotty are 2 But
I didn't even torture you at.
8.7 and the ultra-secret Spotty Cipher, which is known only by me and several billion other Spotty, is happy.
I guess his brace literally has no
Sorry
spine.
about that.
Yeah.
Landing vehicle. I was
Primitive.
so startled when it approached my vessel, it became necessary to...
Alright.
Well, I have been unpleasantly employed for the last 25 years.
You mean you've been unemployed? Is there no one else but you there?
Before you have asked this question, Captain, will the third time be the charm? Alas, I fear not.
Just join our fleet.
Captain, how true. In truth, just between us, during the past 7 years, I have been quite ill at ease, and yet now I find myself enjoying your company. This witty dialogue, and the presence of your huge, powerful, death-dealing starship, which, being my friend, you would certainly feel compelled to use in order to save me from any hostile life forms who threatened me with death. Happy days and jubilation!
It took a while.
I discard all prejudice and hesitations and accept and celebrate your offer of protection and your undying commitment to my well-being. I must wax melancholy for just a...
Mineral ores gap.
I never expected to...
This is how space combat works. It's one-on-one.
You've
But
shown that you can handle your...
It's But the way the damage works in this game is like if you take damage, you lose crew members. So the idea is to like make your ship resilient is to have many crew members, like old Star Trek, where you like see a panel blow up and crew members die.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's a little ridiculous, but I don't know. I do enjoy the timer.
Hello,
you know how
Captain.
this all operates on a time limit, and there's various civilizations
What
out
do you need
there
to know?
in Star
I got
Control too.
Okay.
But then what?
I want to show the combat thing.
Fool! As alien as your ship may be, our sensors reveal how few weapons you have on board. Though this vessel is undercrewed, and our cloak of darkness is non-functional, we still have more than enough power to kill you all.
Gotta love the voices, huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a one-on-one. With the cruiser, you got missiles, so that's what I'm doing right here. Is I'm just using the long-range missiles to ouch, and don't crash into things that'll damage you.
Uh-oh. They gotcha.
No, I got them with the
Oh, you got that.
on the
Oh, okay,
missiles.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
What a beautiful sight, Captain. I haven't seen an Avenger blown away like that since the battle in Draco. I guess you've shown that you can handle yourself in...
And exact intense interval.
So
I have been...
So it's not, presets like escape velocity, but you have to manually move yourself around in hyperspace.
Neat.
Are fun.
So yeah, first we're going to where Fwifo said the Spotty were found, so we can just get them to join us.
Evil one's natural cunning and ferocity. Finally, with no other option available.
Now encounter. We are a relatively peaceful group of species.
So I'm going to finish up with this one, but this is where you actually meet Ur-Quan. These ones suck because they, they're annoying because they launch tiny fighters to destroy your ship.
Nice.
But that's about it. I know time is pressing. So, there it is. So in a way, it's just both of these games in space were an early way of saying that, hey, look, you're in this dynamic universe or world where your decisions have an impact, and the world around you can be changing. Of course, this one has, as Chaos mentioned earlier, we had a fun time playing the open source Ur-Quan Masters using Super Melee on our home PC, where it's one-on-one starship battles.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the other one. There's the ores, and let's go over next week. So next week is going to be Sword and Sorcerer. We'll finally talk about Baldur's Gate, Planescape Torment, Icewind Dale, and after that, we're going to talk about Beneath the Still Sky and Fallout, because that's going to be the post-apocalyptic role-playing game. So it's pretty much set, and that should finish off September and into early October.
Cool.
But I'm not going to really be live streaming. Got to take care of the cat on top of everything else this week. So
Okay.
I'm not really gaming live stream. Are you going to be up on Friday?
Yeah, I should. I will be streaming tomorrow with more Doom Eternal, and I'm going to try to get the weapons review out. A bunch of things. I decided to shift my attention to a bunch of other things, which is why the weapons review hasn't come out. I will try to get it out tomorrow. I don't know if I will.
Yeah, I'm gonna be working for the 20th anniversary for Curse of Darkness. I'm gonna make a video about that, but I'm not gonna be doing an hour-long video as a lot of people might expect. I'm anticipating it to be 20 minutes, maybe 30, like I did in my other longer videos. So I'll see about that. That's the other project I'm doing aside from live streaming. So yeah, next week should be better. The cat should be better. Apparently, cats get the flu too somehow. But we're just making sure she's all better. Other than that, I'll go back to normal next week. So everyone, thank you for stopping by and learning about the golden age of role-playing games. See you next week for Baldur's Gate, Planescape Torment, and others on same time, same channel.
All right. Have a good day, everyone.
All right.